Alright, so like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Netflix time. This movie's called Hypnotic. It's an hour and a half long. Spoiler alert, let's just get it. So it starts up with this girl named Andrea. She's on the phone talking about he's coming for me. He who? She's leaving the office and she gets in this elevator. As she's going down the elevator, she gets an unknown call. She thinks it's some detective, but the guy talks about, hey, the world's going to end. As soon as he said that, she starts spazzing out, then all of a sudden the elevator starts closing in on her. So okay, is the elevator really closing in on her, or has she just got this fear? Like, what the heck is going on? Next you see this lady named Jennifer going to a party. Going to her best friend's house, Gina. And somebody didn't tell her ex-boyfriend Brian was going to be here too. She goes in anyway, and there's Brian. To the left of her is Gina's boyfriend, Scott. While at the party, Gina gets Jennifer to meet this therapist by the name of Mr. Mead. Dr. Mead. She wants to hook Jennifer up with some therapy sessions and also get to know him, you know what I'm saying? Then they all start eating at the table. Gina was about to feed Brian something that almost killed him. Gina totally forgot that he can't have anything with sesame seeds in him because he's allergic. Later on, Brian goes outside to check on Jennifer to see if she's okay. Alright, the thing is, she didn't want to see him because she actually left Brian, for reasons unknown yet. Then we found out she had a miscarriage like 6 months in, and she's been staying away most of the time to try to avoid the pain and guilt and stuff. So basically it was hard for her to see his face again. But he said he's willing to give her a ride home since she's sitting there waiting on an Uber. And she wakes up the next day at her house with a note on the pillow, saying he didn't want to wake her, he'd call her later. But we found out that night she did end up giving her the business. And she tells her friend Gina they're having their lunch break. And she tells her, look man, she wants you to see that therapist. So against her so-called better judgment, she's going to go see Mr. Mead. So she gets to the office. We see this one girl comes out the office. She's like, yeah, he can cure you anything you need. She's like, alright, thanks. And she's biting her nails down to the cuticle. So then she goes in and has her session. So she basically explains everything, starts talking about Brian and the miscarriage. And then he asks her if she ever had hypnotherapy. So as the lights are going back and forth, he tells her to just sink into the couch. Basically feel your body getting heavy, then close your eyes and think about a beautiful island. While she's doing that, she's thinking about this random forest. She wakes back up thinking it was only 3 minutes, but a whole hour passed by. So whatever the case may be, she enjoyed her session. 3 months goes by, she's about to get this job at some place called Rapid Fox. And Brian's been calling her, but she's actually been ignoring the calls. She gets in a yoga session with Gina and she tells her she's been going to the doctor like every day or once a week for the past 3 months. Then when she goes to sleep, she has these dreams about being in bed, but actually being in bed with the doctor. One day she goes and stops by the mall. She runs into Dr. Mead again. I guess you could say they went on a date. Apparently we found out she hasn't seen him in about a couple of weeks. And he tells her that when there are visions and dreams, you can either take what you want out of this life, or you can let the fear consume you. She talks about how she hadn't been picking up Brian's calls, and the doctor says, yeah, just invite him to dinner one day. Have it at your own home, your own turf, and just see how it goes. So she agrees to it. Later on, Brian left a message that he'll be there at dinner. Then she gets a phone call from an unknown caller. Then once she picks it up, everything just stops. Next thing you know, she's back at her house and all she hears is choking in the background. She goes in the back to see what the fuck is going on. And Brian's just laid out in the bathroom choking on food. I'm like, what the fuck? She's trying to get him up and take him to the hospital. She gets to the hospital and he's on a breathing machine. Gina comes to comfort her and now we're thinking to ourselves, what the heck happened to Brian and how was he choking? Then on top of that, she can't even remember what happened last night. All she remembers is going to the grocery store. Next thing she knows, she's back at her house sitting at the couch, sitting at the dining room table. So she goes back to Dr. Mead to try to figure out what the heck just happened. But Dr. Mead really doesn't have any answers for her except to go back under hypnosis. He just tells her to keep doing the work and he promises you'll get all the answers that you need. Next thing we see, we had this vision of her just putting on a red dress. But once again, this is a dream that everything was taking place. So when she wakes up, she goes to a grocery bag and finds the receipt and it's like, oh shit. She noticed that she had went out and bought sesame oil with the rest of the food. Now remember when I told you earlier about Brian, he's allergic to sesame. Then she starts to remember what happened. The unknown caller was actually Dr. Mead, and he was telling her what to do because she was hypnotized. He told her exactly what meal to prepare. He ate everything with the sesame oil. He started coughing, meanwhile she was sitting back just drinking a wine. And she basically couldn't do a damn thing. At a certain point in time when Brian was laying on the floor in the bathroom, was all of a sudden she decided to snap out of it. Now my question is, how did the hypnosis last for so long? And what would have made it the perfect time for her to snap out of it? It's not like Dr. Mead called her back again to tell her to wake up, so it was like, how the hell did she snap out of this shit? So then she goes on the internet and finds out all these other cases that the doctor took on. And apparently all these people were under some type of hypnosis or doing something right before they died. But all these have been classified as quote-unquote mysterious deaths. So she talks to Gina, gives her all this information, and they find out Dr. Mead doesn't even have a real address. The only address he has is for his office. So things get more and more suspicious. Then she tells her about the sesame oil incident with Brian. Yeah, they both thought it was bullshit too, but there was too many things that were linking up to this, all involving Dr. Mead. So they go to a cop that was involved in all the other investigations earlier, a detective by the name of Wade Collins. Now the thing is, he did feel something suspicious about all this stuff going down. All these deaths do involve around Dr. Mead, and then died in between a couple of days or a week later. The problem is, trying to claim hypnosis is a crime, you get laughed out the damn courtroom. So that's how Dr. Mead's been able to get away scot-free from all this. So here's a video of the girl Andrea, the one that was trapped in the elevator. We find out nothing was wrong with the elevator. She ended up having a heart attack, right? At least that's what they said, she died of a heart attack. So apparently the hypnosis draws in your greatest fear. And if you're under it for too long, chances are you're probably gonna die. But once again, can't nobody prove that shit in court. So basically, Jennifer's going to meet up with Dr. Mead to try to catch him slipping. So she goes to set up an unscheduled appointment with him, and she goes under hypnosis once again. But without letting him know, she left her phone on record in her purse. The thing is, when she came out of hypnosis and went inside her car, he basically told her the truth about everything. Dr. Mead knew she was at the police station, along with Gina, and pretty much knows everything they planned. So basically, the phone recording didn't give her shit. All it did was alert Dr. Mead to her what she was doing. Then we got Gina and Scott driving in the car. Jennifer picks up the phone and tells her to go back in the house, but tries to before the phone gets disconnected, because she realizes that Gina recently has been taking therapy lessons from Dr. Mead. And recently, she's also went into hypnotherapy too. Gina's getting another call. Jenny tells her, no, don't pick it up. But Gina can't hear. It's too late. Gina gets a call, and it's from Mead saying the world's gonna end. It's the same thing he said to Andre when she was in the elevator. So is that the trigger word? Well, apparently so, because a fucking spider pops up out of nowhere on her chest. She's telling her husband to get it off because she's scared to death, but her husband doesn't see anything there. So he's like, get what off of you? She starts spazzing out, going through a red light, and smacks into an 18-wheeler like, god damn. Jenny gets there, but it's too late. They done deal dead as shit. What kind of powers does Dr. Mead have? I gotta say, he's one powerful hypnotist. The way Collins does confront Mr. Mead, while he's getting a drink, he slips a spoon out of there for evidence. And he talks about how he performed hypnosis on Gina. Very convenient seeing how she just died the same week later. So the thing is, Wade can come up with all the theories he wants. The problem is Dr. Mead knows that he can't prove this shit in court. Because once again, who believes you can hypnotize somebody to do some crazy shit? You need some type of legit evidence. Next thing we see is Jennifer chilling on the couch. Mr. Wade comes to console Jennifer. Now he says he picked up some evidence, so hopefully they can find out something about this guy. See if they can catch him slipping somehow. Gives us some more information and he dips out. But he also left the Andrea file there on her table. She then hears a knock at the door thinking he's coming back for the file. But it turns out to be Dr. Mead. Oh shit. And you wouldn't believe this even if I told you, so I'm about to show you the scene. He comes back in. She tells her to stop, and she stops dead in her tracks, and she can't move for shit. Now I'm absolutely perplexed how he can actually control her movements by using simple commands. I'm guessing he has to keep his thought process under control to make it happen. Maybe it takes an abnormal level of concentration to make this happen. I'm not sure. And then once he leaves, he releases her from the control. So after what just happened and the information Mead told her, he thinking to himself, he's gonna try to do something to Wade. Wade's just chilling back in the house. Apparently, he keeps hearing noises. Then all of a sudden, we find a girl that's been covered in Mr. Mead's beatings all over the fucking... She grabbed the goddamn knife ready to kill Wade. So apparently, Dr. Mead had something to do with this. It was a back and forth tussle. He ended up getting stabbed, but then he hit her with a box and ended up killing that bitch. Now basically, he's in the hospital. Jennifer's talking about how she got some type of idea to catch Dr. Mead. Later on, she goes to visit her man, Brian, who's been in the hospital for about 8 days now. She goes to talk to this another therapist by the name of Anna, and she wants her to do hypnotherapy on her. The thing is, when she does it, she starts spazzing out, and she can't control it, so she tries to get Jennifer to wake up. But in her dream, she sees this place called 1010 Haven Sullivan's. She sees Dr. Mead giving her a bracelet. She sees the forest again, and the doctor finally wakes her up. So basically, we find out the dude Dr. Mead's mentor was a guy by the name of Xavier Sullivan. And apparently he lives at that house that she keeps seeing. Why she keep having dreams about Dr. Mead, I'm not sure. So then she goes back to her house to do some research on Xavier. And come to find out this guy was a hypnotist for the CIA back in the 1950s. He was working on this thing called Project MDK Ultra. Not sure exactly what that is. If you don't know, do your research. So anyway, she drives up to the house. She goes in looking for anything, then she finds some pictures on the wall. Then she ends up turning around and finding Dr. Mead in there. Turns out his real name is not Dr. Mead. His real name is actually Julian Sullivan. Xavier Sullivan wasn't his mentor. That was actually his dad. He tells her to sleep, and that's exactly what she does. Wade gets a call from higher-ups. He ran the prints on the spoon. Turns out his name is Julian Sullivan, so he gets the message now, too. Next thing we know, Jennifer wakes back up. She thinks she's back at the office. So she calls Wade to let her know her location. But she's barricaded and basically stuck in there. Here comes Mr. Mead, a.k.a. Julian Sullivan. Wade made sure the police and SWAT came down there to break down the door. Wade's trying to hurry up and get there, but it turns out they're not in his office at all. She was hallucinating. Turns out she never left the house. They still there at Xavier Sullivan's house. Police break the door down. Ain't nobody there. Wade gets the confirmation. He's thinking to himself, damn, let's go to Xavier Sullivan's house. Then we find out not only has he been hypnotizing her to do crazy stuff, but he's also been implanting different memories in her head. So everything she was dreaming about was not really dreams. They were actually memories of her dead wife. And basically, he's been keeping her around because he wants Jennifer to be his new wife. So you do that by imprisoning her and hypnotizing her mind, body, and soul. Wow, that's some next level crazy shit right there. Wade finally makes it to the house. I swear his hypnotism also has something to do with the lights also. I'm not sure how, but... Because he be using those same flashing lights at the office, too. Well, anyway, catches them, they get the beef in. Jennifer gets there, she somehow broke the control. He tells her to sleep, and she still trying to break control. She somehow gets the gun and ends up shooting. Next thing we see is her waking up on the couch. Next thing is with Wade, everything's all good gravy, right? Then he says something about, let me take care of you, my love. My love? Wade start treating her like a girlfriend. Then we go back to a flashback with her and Anna. So she had found out throughout the memory transfers that Dr. Mead was always calling Jennifer my love. She couldn't break the control that he had on her, but it would snap her out of her hypnosis state anytime he tried to say my love. So she wakes up and finds out the person hanging on to her is not Wade, but actually Julian Sullivan. She gets away from him and finds out that she actually did shoot Wade instead. By accident, but still. Julian comes in the room, but Jennifer finds Wade, lower her gun, and starts shooting, busting at him. Sits him in a chair, done deal, dead as shit. A month later, she's at her job doing well. She's about to move. I guess she's going to make sure she takes Brian with him, but Brian's been in the hospital the entire month. How long is he gonna be in there? Is he gonna survive after all this? She comes by the police station to thank Wade, who yes is still alive after all this, then he gives her a gift. So what's he end up giving her? Gives her a CD talk about better sleep, self-hypnosis. I don't know why she likes like Angelina Jolie in the shot. It's crazy. And that's it. So I'm thinking you're gonna move while Brian's still in the hospital? What the fuck? So I'm guessing they weren't gonna be able to prove the hypnosis thing, so you might as well just end up killing him, right? I wonder how they explain that shit. Anyway. Hypnotic on Netflix. Check it out. Like, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Look, these are the easy bits. Big. Get it slow.